The World Cup you're now watching, Colombia episode. On June 22nd, 1994, Los Angeles, California, a Colombian defender is trying to block a cross. His foot catches the ball at the wrong angle. It deflects past his own goalkeeper and into the net. His name was Andrés Escobar. He was 27 years old. He was known throughout Colombia as the gentleman of the field. Calm, thoughtful, respected by everyone. The own goal helps eliminate Colombia from the World Cup. This was an unexpected event. Colombia was supposed to make it even to the final. 10 days later, Andrés Escobar is dead. Shot 6 times in the parking lot of a nightclub in Medellín. According to eyewitnesses, his killer shouted the word "Goal! Goal! Goal!" after every shot. Before he died, Escobar had written a public letter to his country. He wrote, "Life doesn't end here. We have to go on. Life cannot end here. No matter how difficult, we must stand back up." He was right. Colombia stood back up. It took 32 years, but they are back, and it will be difficult to beat this Colombia team at the 2026 World Cup. This is PowernomiKs. This is the World Cup you're now watching. On June 17th, Colombia plays its first match at the 2026 World Cup. Not in Los Angeles this time, but in North America, on the same continent where Andrés Escobar's story ended. And tonight, on PowernomiKs, we ask the question that nobody in the broadcast booth is asking. Colombia is back. But what did it cost them to be gone? And who is really cashing in on their return? In our last episode, we showed you how Mexico invested $200 million in infrastructure to host this tournament. Mexico never had to fight to get there. They have qualified for every World Cup since 1994. They had the luxury of asking, how do we use this moment? Colombia didn't have that luxury. Colombia missed the 2022 World Cup. And we showed you what that cost in one of our previous episodes. It cost them $810 million in lost economic activity. Mexico used this tournament to tell the world that it had arrived. Colombia is using it to tell the world it survived. Those are the two very different stories from both countries. My name is Dr. René Padilla, and welcome to PowernomiKs, where we don't just watch the world happen, we understand it. This is episode 2 of our 3-part World Cup series. Subscribe so you don't miss the USA episode coming June 24th, and like this video if it ends it. Now let's get into it. Colombia returns to the World Cup for the 7th time in their history. Under coach Nestor Lorenzo, Colombia went on a 28-match unbeaten run, the longest in their history. They beat Germany, they beat Brazil, they beat Spain. Basically, all of the top teams in the world. They reached the Copa America in 2024 final, their first final in 23 years, where they pushed Argentina all the way to extra time before losing 1-0. They arrived at the 2026 World Cup as genuine dark horses. Their group contains Portugal, but Colombia has already beaten better teams on bigger nights. We just mentioned the one that they beat. The question is, what happens to a country economically when its team comes back from the dead? When Colombia missed the 2022 World Cup, FENALCO calculated the economic losses at 810 million. Beer sales were down 40%, spirits were down 20%, and TV screens, jerseys, sticker albums, none of it moved. Now they're back. The Federation alone receives a minimum of 10.5 million just for making it to the tournament. If they advance, that number grows. But the real economic story is in Bogotá, in Medellín, in Cali, in Barranquilla, in every bar that is already full, every jersey that is already sold out. Colombia's return to this tournament is not just a sporting event. It is an economic reactivation of an entire country's commercial energy. But before we talk about the economics, we have to talk about how Colombia got here. On October 28, 2023, our men on motorcycles pulled up to a gas station in Barrancas, a small town near Venezuela. They kidnapped 2 people. One is released within hours. The other is held for 12 days in the mountains by the ELN. This is Colombia's National Liberation Army. His name is Luis Manuel Díaz. He is the father of Colombia's star forward. While his father was in the mountains, Luis Díaz kept playing because there was nothing else that he could do. On November 9th, after 12 days, Luis Manuel Díaz was freed. Only 2 days later, his father was in the stands of the Metropolitano Stadium in Barranquilla, Colombia jersey on hand and next to his wife. And his son, Luis Díaz, scored 2 goals against Brazil nonetheless. Colombia's first qualifying win over Brazil in 15 attempts. His father fell onto the people next to him in the stands and wept. After the match, Luis Díaz said, "I thank God He makes it all possible. We have always lived tough moments, but life makes you strong and brave. So is soccer. So is life." There's no more Colombian sentence than that. And then there is James Rodríguez. 34 years old, this is his 3rd World Cup, a decade after winning the Golden Boot at Brazil 2014 with 6 goals, the performance that made the world fall in love with Colombian football. At the 2024 Copa America, a tournament many thought he was too old to matter, James Rodríguez, or James Rodríguez, was named best player. He set the record for most assists in a single Copa America tournament. He is passing the torch to Luis Díaz. 2 icons, 1 nation, the circle closing. To understand what Colombia's return really means, you have to understand where they came from. This gives you perspective. Colombia arrived at the 1994 World Cup as one of the favorites. Pelé himself had predicted they would win the cup. They were playing so well. What they also had, and what nobody talked about in the broadcast booth, was a national team deeply entangled with narco money. More than half the players came from clubs financially backed by drug traffickers. Atlético Nacional, Pablo Escobar's club. América de Cali, backed by the Cali cartel. And when the own goal happened, and when Colombia was eliminated, and when the narcos, who had bet heavily on Colombia's performance, lost their money, Andrés Escobar paid with his life. He was shot 6 times. His killer shouting, "Goal, goal, goal, goal after every bullet. He was 27 years old. He had written, "Life doesn't end here." He was right, but it ended for him. Here is the detail nobody is mentioning in the 2026 World Cup coverage. That own goal was scored against the United States in Los Angeles, at the last World Cup held in North America. And just months before this 2026 tournament began, one of the men linked to Escobar's murder was himself shot dead in Mexico. The story is still being written. Colombia is back in North America, back on the same continent where the darkest chapter in their football history was written. They're not just playing football. They are completing a circle that has been open for 32 years. To summarize, who gets paid? So let's bring this home. Here's who benefits from Colombia's return. FIFA. Colombia's share flows to the international organization. The federation gets a minimum of 10.5 million guaranteed. Colombian commerce, the 810 million that evaporated in 2022, comes back. Beer, jerseys, screens, travel, hospitality, local businesses, restaurants, vendors, transportation. This money does reach the ordinary Colombians, and that's a great thing. And the Colombian people who get something no economic model can measure. A team that reflects who they are. A country that has known violence and kidnapping and narcos and heartbreak. And the country is still here, still playing, still believing. This is what 810 million of absence actually buys you. The understanding of what it means to be back. We started tonight with Andrés Escobar, a man who told his country, "Life doesn't end here," 10 days before his life ended. We end with Díaz, whose father was held in the mountains by guerrillas and whose son scored twice against Brazil 2 days after being freed. And with James Rodríguez, who at 34 is playing the last chapter of a story that began with a golden boot in Brazil and ends here, in North America, 32 years after the darkest night in Colombian football history. Mexico told us this tournament is about coming home. Colombia tells us, for us, it's about something harder than that. It's about coming back. There's a difference. That is the World Cup. That is Colombia. That is PowernomiKs. Subscribe for the USA episode. The final chapter of this series dropping June 24th. And share this with someone who needs to understand what football really means. And I mean the real football. To a country like Colombia. And remember, it is not about believing what we want to believe. It's about knowing what we need to know. I am Dr. René Padilla, and this is PowernomiKs. I'll see you in the next.